the chair, panel of judges, invited guests, our patrons, fellow students, fellow debaters, ladies and gentlemen. Nasara Swali Abdul Latif is my name, the principal speaker for University of Ghana, chapter of ACEYE Scholars Club, and my team is speaking in favor of the motion which states, and I quote, "The International Monetary Fund is fit for accelerated development." Unquote. I'm of the view that this debate just seeks to solicit our views on the motion, but not just to choose a winner. Before I proceed my point, I'd like to break down the motion into digestible bits. The International Monetary Fund is an organization whose mission is to foster global monetary cooperation, to secure financial stability, facilitate international trade, promote high employment and sustainable economic growth among its member countries. Fit means good enough, when relevant, suitable. Accelerate means to boost development is the process of change, particularly of structural nature, towards the enhancement of the individual's scope of self-fulfillment and the people's socio-economic well-being. Hoping that I have cleared any uncertainty, I proceed. The chair, Ghana's dealing with the International Monetary Fund over the years has proven to some extent suitable in boosting the development of the country. In 2015, Ghana had an extended credit facility with the IMF, which was arranged for 3 years. The extended credit facility supported the country with protracted balance of payment problems. Under the ECF, Ghana implemented a set of policies that proved to lead the country towards a stable and sustainable macroeconomic position over the period. The country agreed to gradually end central bank financing of budget deficits and to fortify inflation targeting regime, clean up banking system as well as restore debt sustainability by cutting down tax evasion and rationalize exemption. By 2019, the pace of economic growth was poised to rise to 8.8% from 2.2% in 2015. The inflation rate was also projected to fall to 8% from almost 19%. Same can be said in the late 1960s when the IMF supervised the privatization of state corporations in order to turn them into profitable institutions. In the late 1970s, the IMF also supported the country to manage troubles of the economy after serious coups, corruption, and economic mismanagement. The IMF has proven indeed worthy that they have time immemorial, indeed worthy of accelerating and stabilizing the country. Let's move a bit away from Ghana and compare the success of the International Monetary Fund in promoting development in some African countries. Let's take Tanzania as a case study. Tanzanian President Samia Suluhu Hassan has defended that the loans received from the International Monetary Fund and African Development Fund has helped her stabilize her economy, improve quality of learning environment, and expand the reach of clean water supply. Tanzania has gone to the International Monetary Fund for 14 times, and each time has proven to be fruitful. IMF successful for other countries like Mozambique, Uganda, and Burkina Faso serves as an indicator that it is really worthy enough to aid in development of the country. As a matter of fact, no man is an island. Just as a business will go to the bank for a loan, that's the same way Ghana goes to the IMF for loans. It's a fact that Ghana is endowed with natural resources like bauxite, like gold, like cocoa, oil, and human resources as well. But that alone is not sufficient. My opponent may have thought that the fact that going to the International Monetary Fund would lead to Ghana following a particular trajectory. Of course, that trajectory is only helping us to overcome some challenges such as balancing the high rates of demand and supply. This also depends on how severe the crisis of the nation is and how good the country is able to make efficient policies. Let's take a bank analogy where you go to the bank for loan for construction. The bank either follows up to see if you are really doing that or even give you an architect for that. Yes, sometimes the trajectory is really not smooth, but surely the economy is able to stabilize by that. The International Monetary Fund is not the problem, but the management of the economy. The International Fund only gives us assistance when the need arises. What about our leaders? Is the International Monetary Fund to be blamed for our economic mismanagement? Is the International Monetary Fund to blame for improper fiscal and monetary practices which are leading to economic imbalances? The IMF should not be blamed for weaker institutions. The IMF only gives us policy advices, and we want the government to take action when the need arises. IMF will not come to Ghana to give us jobs. IMF will not grow our GDP. IMF will not industrialize our economy. IMF only ensure that there is this stability that will accelerate our development. The chair, panel of judges, invited guests, our patrons, fellow students, fellow scholars, fellow debaters, ladies and gentlemen, just as our parents will guide us when we go on the wrong path or take wrong decisions, that's how IMF steps in when we need such support. As agents of change that we are, and as agents of change that we believe not in pessimism but in optimism, and that we can utilize every opportunity we get to make positive change. I end with Mark Twain's words, and I quote, "There's no sadder sight than a young person."
Thank you very much for that speech. Let's now welcome the principal speaker speaking against the motion from University of Mines and Technology.
Mr. Chairman, panel of judges, honorable timekeeper, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, our patron, good evening. The motion before the House is International Monetary Fund is fit for accelerating Ghana's development, and I, Sarah Jamra Amwakun, and my team. International Monetary Fund, popularly known as IMF, is an institution of the United Nations which was established in the year 1944 to help assist its member countries financially. Mr. Chairman, my opponents have said IMF will assist Ghana in restoring microeconomic stability, which implies stable economic development, stable inflation rates, and improved gross domestic products. I would like to address that issue. As of 2022, the inflation rate increased from 13.9 in January to 37.2 in September. I thought IMF was supposed to help restore the stability of inflation rates. Mr. Chairperson, Ghana's public debt in total is $13,297 million US. So my opponent thinking that going for more money will help to stabilize this is actually nonsensical. Audience, let's face the reality. Let's say, panel of judges, let's say you are IMF, I am Ghana. I come to you to ask for loan. You tell me yes, you will give it to me. Only if I allow your people to work at my company, and also if I'm using the $5,000 to buy 5 bags, I can only buy 1 bag of the gravels for the road construction. So at the end, we realize that what we wanted to achieve with that money is not fully achieved because the IMF laid down conditionalities are not favorable to us. Mr. Chairperson, accelerating from the Oxford Dictionary means to keep something moving at a constant speed. In hard times, it is automatic for people to run to the easiest solution, which may not necessarily be the wisest or the best. In federals, Ghana, when faces hard times, quickly runs to IMF for free money in the form of loan to be paid in quarters, monthly, and even yearly. In 2010, the IMF structural benchmark for net hiring freeze of the non-priority had implications on the quality of education in Ghana. The policy resulted in the ban of recruitment of teachers, like qualified teachers in the field. And out of the 33,185 teachers vacancies available, only 8,625 available seats were filled. It is evident that Ghana is blessed with so much resources like gold, timber, and many more. If we could save more money from what we make from producing, exporting unprocessed goods for a decade, I think Ghana would have been able to afford its own machinery to process these goods and export them to gain the maximum foreign exchange to pay off our debts. Ghana going to IMF will be like the Bayama dance performed by the Dagombes, which means taking one step forward and taking two steps back. Ghana going to IMF will only relieve us of the current pain, just like the pain relief drug does. In the future, the pain will bounce back to us. It is of the interest that will be twice the amount made. Let's face the reality. If we enjoy IMF's money now, it's the future that suffers. Audience, this really isn't acceleration, is it?
Thank you very much for your submission. Unfortunately, the time has run out. Without wasting time, let's hear from the supporting speaker from University of Ghana.
The chair, panel of judges, fellow debaters, fellow scholars, fellow students, ladies and gentlemen. I'm in the person of Abubakar Alwasiu, the second speaker for University of Ghana Legon chapter, ACEYE Club. Our team seeks to be in support of the motion which states the IMF, which is the International Monetary Fund, is it fit for accelerating Ghana's development? My first speaker has already explained the meaning of acceleration, the fit for all those in the motion. So I'll go ahead, before I'll go to my points, I'll go ahead and address the issues of my opponent's points they mentioned here. My opponent mentioned a point that about cements, and she ended with the statement, and I quote, "What we want to achieve in the end is not being achieved." Before IMF helps the country, IMF has their conditions before they help the country, and they give advices to the country that they are helping. So before you get their help, IMF gives you advice on how to use your money, on how to use your funds. And also, my opponent said that in 2022, inflation is high. Yes, this is due to the world economic crisis and economic mismanagement. Negotiations are still being made to help stabilize the economy. They don't just seek to give funds. They only can give what they are certain of when they are certain of the problems, and to ensure the appropriate programs is provided. Also, IMF successes of the IMF in helping African countries and other developed countries have proven that they are worthy. Countries like Tanzania, Uganda, and Mozambique, they are evidence of IMF's their help. We cannot solely depend on our natural resources in terms of crisis. IMF also consistent help over the past years have proven that IMF is really worthy. IMF isn't the problem, but the manager of the economy. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your speech. To conclude the first debate, let's welcome the supporting speaker from University of Mines and Technology.
Mr. Chairman, panel of judges, fellow debaters, IMF, as my opponent said, you want to tell me indirectly IMF can control the economic development of Ghana. But I want to tell you that it is not true. IMF is not a long-term solution to the problem. I want to tell you, in the 2015, under the former president, John Dramani Mahama, procured $980 million sustain the economy. But Mr. Chairman, I want to ask, is it no? And on the 8th February 2008, from the current president Nana Akufo-Addo, he said, we have no reason to seek any solution from the global body. Mr. Chairman, I want to tell you, the global body that the president was referring to was the IMF. Fast forward 4 years, that was 2020. The president said from African News Stream that he said, I quote from his 3rd paragraph, he said, in our case, we will seek collaboration with the IMF to solve to repair our short-term public finances. Mr. Chairman, I want to ask, we all know that the IMF give only short-term loans. So what short-term finances is the president talking about? Mr. Chairman, if IMF was to be a lasting solution, Ghana wouldn't have gone to IMF for the 18th time since 1966, after the Prime Minister, Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. Mr. Chairman, Ghana going to IMF is going to tarnish the image. Mr. Chairman, on this from the Kwame Nkrumah on 6 March 1957, he said it's capable of affairs. This means after he said this means that he could. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that speech. We've come to the end of the first debate, so thank you very much, all the teams from University of Ghana, University of Mines and Technology.